All right, Nabil, it looks like we're on.
All right. Hi, my name is Dr. Nabil Tueme. I'm Senior Research Associate at Springtide Research Institute, where I research all things related to young people, religion, and spirituality. And I'm delighted to be here today with my colleague, Dr. Kari Koshiol, to talk about some of our favorite data points from Springtide's research. Kari, do you want to introduce yourself and tell folks what you do at Springtide?
Of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Kari Koshiol, and I serve as Springtide Senior Project Manager, and I work with all of our clients in custom research.
So what are we doing here today, Kari?
Well, you remember, Nabil, a couple of weeks ago, we were in a meeting with the Springtide team, and we were all invited to share our favorite data point from Springtide Research. And that created such great conversations that we thought it would be fun to share them more widely. So, Nabil, can I share my favorite data point first? I'm pretty excited about it.
Please do.
Okay. So my favorite data point is actually more of data analysis, and it goes all the way back to Springtide's first research report called Belonging, Reconnecting with America's Loneliest Generation. So you remember this chart, right, Nabil?
Oh yeah, the belongingness process. So we created it based on the three distinct stages that we observed from our interview data regarding how young people move from simply joining an organization to actually feeling belonging within that group.
Yeah, exactly. And this graph, I really love it because it shows what we learned by listening to young people. And that's one of Springtide's trademarks, right? Is that we listen to young people ages 13 to 25. And when we heard them talk about their experiences with belonging, we saw that there were three different stages of belonging. Being noticed, which means to be acknowledged and seen. Being named, which means that others know you as an individual. And being known, which means you're accepted without judgment. You truly belong somewhere. And what I really love about this graphic is that it breaks it down. It breaks down this concept, right? This concept of belonging, which can be hard to pin down. It breaks it down into these really clear action steps for adults to use when trying to connect with young people. And so as adults, I like that it shows us these specific steps that we can take to help make sure young people feel acknowledged and noticed. So for example, we can call young people by name. We can ask about their hobbies and thoughts so that they feel named. And those are simple things we can do to really build, one step building on another to deepen that overall experience of belonging. And I love that it makes what seems like a kind of hard cerebral process down into something really practical.
Yeah, definitely, Kari. I think as adults who serve young people, it's also really easy to wonder if what we're doing is actually helping young people flourish. And that's especially the case when a lot of the things that we do don't always have an immediate impact on young people. And so actually, that's where my favorite data point comes in. Springtide's research shows just how impactful a single trusted adult can be in the life of a young person, and particularly for young people today who are experiencing record rates of loneliness. So the presence of one trusted adult can actually make all of the difference in a young person's life, because even as religious affiliation and institutional trust decline, young people are still seeking meaning and they're still navigating questions of identity and pursuing community. And so they really need trusted adults to listen to, care for them, and guide them as well. The thing is that the adults in the life of a young person aren't always trusted adults, right? And so building trust is really important if we want to help young people navigate life's biggest questions. So how do we build trust? Well, we see here that 87% of young people say that they trust adults who take time to foster relationships. And 81% of young people say they'll trust someone whom they believe actually cares about them. And so I think, Kari, it really goes back to this relational belongingness process. By demonstrating to young people that you notice their unique contributions, naming and celebrating the multitudes that make them whole, and truly knowing and caring for them without reservation or judgment, you can dramatically decrease young people's sense of loneliness and isolation. Now, all of it is easier said than done, right, Kari? So can you leave us with a few tips for how adults can show care to the young people in their lives?
Yeah, Nabil, I think I love what you just said about tying those statistics back to that noticed, named, known structure. And we've got tons of reports or tons of tips throughout our reports. We also have tons of reports too. But
Yeah.
some of the basic tips that we have start with just really listening to young people. I mean, young people can really tell if you're just sitting there waiting to hop in with the piece of advice that you have, especially if you've already made your decision about whatever they're saying before they start talking. They can tell, they know that right away. So one thing we can do is set aside our own viewpoints, right? Set that off to the side and really sit down and listen, take in what they're saying and not try to jump in before they're finished. Secondly, we can do things like just remember their birthday, right? This all goes towards naming them, right? If you remember their birthday or their milestone or their favorite movie, or ask about their pets and their hobbies, those sorts of things let young people know that we are listening, we're paying attention to what they care about, and that we care in response, and we're willing to enter into that dialogue with them about what's important to them. And then that third piece, I think one really impactful thing is to give young people a platform to use their own voice. And when I think about that, I think about co-creation. It's absolutely huge for young people when we can trust them with leadership and give them that resources and support they need to thrive in those positions of leadership. So not just saying, hey, you're in charge, do your own thing, but you're in charge, I trust you, and I'm going to help you along the way. I'm going to give you that support you need. I'll listen to you and hear your problems and support you where I can. That is one amazing way to help young people feel like they are valued in a community, makes them feel like they belong. And then you, as an adult, become one of those trusted adults, right? Because you're communicating and working with them and supporting them in their own leadership. So I would definitely recommend that platform for their own voice, but then don't leave them out there in the cold. Make sure you keep supporting them.
Yeah, that co-creation part is something we see time and time again. We've seen it over the years. It comes up constantly without even being prompted, right? And that second part, I think you said, is really crucial too. It's like, it's not just enough to say, all right, here you go, run with it, right? But actually backing up, having young people co-create with substantive, meaningful resources that are really going to set them up for success. So thanks for that, Kari. That was a fun little trip down memory lane, our first report on belonging. And just thanks for chatting with me today. This was fun.
Yeah, I'm glad we did it, Nabil. It's so great to get a chance to talk about some of our favorite data points. And like, I don't know, there's so much out there in the Springtide research. So it's fun to go back through it and kind of talk through it and remind ourselves, even us, about the data and what it says, I think is really valuable. Just for everybody out there watching, one important thing that you should know is we're not stopping our work, right? We are always moving forward with this work, always listening to young people. So I want to leave you all with this QR code. This is going to help bring you to our website where we're showing you what's up next at Springtide. Thanks to a generous grant, Springtide is embarking on a 3-year project to look at the various spaces and places where people are really engaging with Gen Z to improve their spiritual flourishing. And we're going to conduct site visits, surveys. We're going to be listening to all sorts of people, young adults, and the people who serve them. Our goal is to create blueprints for what you can do to help young people in your life, right? In your sphere of influence. So go ahead and scan that QR code to find more information about that grant and what we're going to be doing with it. We are so excited to have anyone who wants to sign up to be a part of the path forward. We're really excited for all the research to come. And we just thank you for, taking the trip, like Nabil said, down memory lane as we think about what we've learned and look forward to what we're going to learn next. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.